Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So, Kamala and dog Emhoff, her beau, her husband, they had a lovely Valentine's Day week in New York City. They attended a couple of Broadway shows, including A Wonderful World, which is a tribute to Louis Armstrong. And, of course, the Wonderful World cast wanted to be inspired by Kamala's soaring rhetoric, and so she addressed them after the show with all the platitudes she ripped off from her Hello Kitty desk calendar.
When we think about like these moments where we see things that are being taken, but also let's see it as nature abhors a vacuum. So where there's a vacancy, then let's fill it. Right? And let's know that the reality is that the progress of our nation has always been about the expansion of rights, not the restriction of rights. We're seeing a U-turn right now. For those rights to be maintained, which means we have to be vigilant, and it's just the nature of it. This beautiful play and everything that we know he was suppressed. He had to suppress so much. But he knew, and he took those risks. But we have to be clear-eyed. And it doesn't mean we don't see the beauty in everything, right? These things all coexist. But I believe we fight for something, not against something.
That's big. Word up. Is Cameo there?
All right, with that on there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Woo! Oh, that was a lot to get through. That was heavy. Man,
did we dodge a bullet with that? Oh, my gosh.
The intellectual rigor of Kamala Harris, your future governor of California, maybe 2028 presidential nominee again. Let's hope, for J.D. Vance's sake. For more on this, what's going on in Hollywood? Christian Toto, host of the Hollywood in Toto podcast, hollywoodintoto.com. Christian Toto, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Man. Yeah.
Dear Lord.
Nature abhors a vacuum. We when they go high, or when we go, they go low, we go high, and so on and so forth. You know the
expression "dumb as a plank"? It seems insulting to the plank.
I don't know. The cast of It's a Wonderful Life was completely entranced, as you heard from their guttural responses.
That's acting. They should get awards.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Hamilton has nothing on that cast. What's going on in Hollywood? I mean, they've got to, fight the good fight, at least keep up appearances against Trump and platform the hysteria that we see on Capitol Hill and so forth. So what are they doing?
Yeah, the Trump resistance really didn't get going for a while. It was a little surprising. I mean, you think, just given the animosity toward him in Hollywood and everything that happened during the campaign, that it'd be just, full steam ahead. But it really wasn't. And even some of the, Hollywood reporters and the varieties of the world were thinking, where is the Hollywood resistance? We need them now more than ever. And even at the Sundance Film Festival, there wasn't much. But now we're starting to see it. Now they're starting to get their voice. And part of the problem is that they've all left Twitter to go to Blue Sky. So even if they're shouting, no one actually hears it. But you're starting to see award shows take on this mantle. You saw it at the Grammys, the WGAs, the Directors Guild Awards. And I think I was unclear about this, but I think that the Oscars in a few weeks is just going to be an absolute resistance palooza. And it could be a debacle in many ways. First of all, no one's going to watch it because no one cares about the movies. I think the Emilia Perez controversy has really stained the Oscars because it's such a poor movie to get 13 nominations. And
it's a musical. I started watching. I'm like, what? I didn't expect that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even a traditional musical. It's kind of a hodgepodge, but
Goofy.
yeah, I think they figured this is what they need to do. This is what they have to do. This is where they're more of their emotional state, because the bottom line is that, and we've said this before, Hollywood is genuinely struggling right now. The fires, the fallout from the strikes, the fallout from the pandemic, the fact that streaming isn't the cash cow they thought it was, the box office isn't quite what it used to be, and Hollywood can't afford to chase away people. But they can't help themselves. They can't help whenever they get to a podium, whenever there's a microphone in front of them, whenever they can say something, they have to do it. And so I think the resistance is here. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be nonsensical. And you could argue you saw it over the weekend with Tom Hanks pretending to be a racist Trump supporter. I mean, that was really just a microcosm of what Hollywood thinks of us.
Well, if they keep doing this, I mean, they're never going to win another election. I mean, that fell so flat, and people in the audience didn't even laugh. I mean, it was so stupid, and it was just dumb. They didn't need to do that.
You know, it's a great point that I think people need to focus on more. Is not only was it dumb and it wasn't funny, but it didn't even land in the audience.
Right.
So I think on some elemental level, even their liberal audience realizes that this guy just keeps hiring people of color and women to round key positions in his organization. He's the worst racist ever. But they're going to kind of keep pushing this line. And shame on Tom Hanks. He's been a good guy through the years. He's been left of center, but he hasn't been divisive. And he's a great actor, and I give him a lot of credit. But doing that sketch at this time, celebrating a show that was once subversive and counterculture, and doing that, which is the laziest, hackiest bit possible, he should have raised his hands and said, listen, guys and gals, can you give me a different joke? This doesn't work.
Yeah, even everyman actor Tom Hanks doesn't get the benefit of the doubt from the SNL studio audience. I mean, that might tell you your bubble is a little thicker than it needs to be, or should be, for your own benefit.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I grew up on Saturday Night Live. I love the show. It clearly isn't anything like it used to be. It has lost its mojo. It's partisan. It's hacky. It's obvious. You know where every joke is coming. And it's a shame. It really is a shame. And, that particular reunion special got huge ratings because people do really care about the show. They've got great memories of the cast and the jokes and the skits. But when was the last new character that show has created? When was the last time a member of the show became a breakout star? It doesn't create stars anymore. It doesn't create memorable routines. It just doesn't do anything what it once did, and it doesn't speak truth to power, and it's cowardly, and it's predictable. It's everything the show used to not be.
I noted one of the ways that the Hollywood set is protesting is taking aim at the Kennedy Center since Trump installed himself as chairman of the Kennedy Center. And so some celebrities are refusing to perform at the Kennedy Center because, as a shot across the bow against Trump, like he cares if Issa Rae doesn't perform.
Yeah, listen, it's performative for sure for the most part. And listen, if he became part of the board and he started doing things that they found reprehensible or other actions, you could maybe make an argument there, but as soon as he signed on, they were like, I'm out. So it's just this lack, you talk about being a liberal in the truest sense of the word and welcoming other perspectives and other points of view. No, they're not like that. They're very one-sided. They can't think. And, that's the real problem with a Saturday Night Live is that there's no one on that staff. There's no writer who can raise his or her hand and say, listen, there are other perspectives here. There are other thoughts. There's other jokes. There's other ways we can go with this. There's no diversity of thought within this industry, and that's really hurting it.
Well, they can't. I mean, even when they do try to, show that they're adult enough to have comedians or actors that they don't agree with, they bring on Chappelle or they bring on Shane Gillis or something like that. Then it descends into their infantile conduct as usual because they can't tolerate anything that pokes fun at their sacred cows, which of course is the antithesis of comedy.
They had about 8 to 10 years to make fun of the woke mind virus. I mean, they really had the perfect perch from which to do so, and they did a great sketch called Woke Genes, which is, I think, about 7 years old now, and that was brilliant, but they really didn't touch it. And by the way, Dave Chappelle just said that when he went on the most recent show, that the show said you can't talk about transgender people and you can't talk about Gaza.
Really?
Now, listen, I probably would not agree with anything he would say about Gaza, but you're telling the greatest comedian around you can't say this and you can't say that. It's Saturday Night Live. It's no holds barred. It's the show that was irreverent and crazy for so long, and now you're saying there are guardrails. Please adhere to our guardrails. It's what a sad decline.
I wanted to talk to you about Disney because it's one of the most woke companies in America, but they seem to be backpedaling from DEI.
They certainly are. Listen, who knows what's happening behind the scenes? I suspect that some DEI initiatives may be repurposed or rebranded or somehow change in a way to kind of skirt the rules. But we are seeing a genuine change at Disney. I mean, last year we had Moana 2 and Inside Out 2, and they were not woke. They were not progressive. They were just like sweet stories, and you could love them or hate them, but they were not like what Disney's been cranking out. And then Disney recently ditched a trans character in a kiddie show aimed at Disney+. So I think they're changing some of the content. They're working behind the scenes to maybe tweak some things. And again, Disney's a massive company. They've been in the spotlight for their activism, and the fact that they're doing any kind of change is a sign of the times.
The recommendations for movies and or series that you're watching that people should be aware of, always appreciate your recommendations.
Well, a new movie comes out this Friday. It's called The Monkey. It is not for the faint of heart. It's a horror movie. It's also a horror comedy, you could say, but I thought it was terrific. It's directed by Osgood Perkins, and if you don't know the name, you know his dad, Mr. Psycho, Anthony Perkins. He's become a horror director now. He also did Longlegs, which was solid, so I definitely recommend that one. And also, on the same note, Heart Eyes is another horror comedy. Again, pretty gruesome stuff. It's good. And also, this I haven't screened. I'm watching it very soon. It's called The Unbreakable Boy with Zachary Levi. It opens this weekend. It's a fact-based story about a kid with a lot of sort of physical challenges. It's an inspirational story. It looks really good. I'm kind of eager to check that out, so I can't review it, but I just am intrigued by it. And then on the small screen, I haven't caught the first episode. I think it just went live a day or two ago. But The White Lotus, the first 2 seasons on Max were excellent. And I think it sort of embraces woke and denies it at times. It's a very interesting way that it looks at storytelling, and it's got a great cast. This time it's got Walton Goggins as part of the ensemble. So I've enjoyed that show so far. I can't imagine it's going to slip too badly. So I'll be checking that out. I think other people should as well.
What I just watched too is The Apprentice, and Jeremy Strong. He better get an Oscar for his performance, and also the gentleman who played Trump. Sebastian said, I thought that movie was going to be so different, but I learned a lot about Trump, and I didn't think it was, disparaging. I think it made Trump look more like a working class American.
I had issues with the film itself, but those performances are spectacular. And I think what Sebastian Stan did was he avoided the kind of the typical quirks that Trump has, and he dialed down and made him more human. But Jeremy Strong was just out and out villainous. And a great performance. So, yeah, there's a chance he could win. And, of course, that film made no money. And there was a lot of hullabaloo about it, about what some of the things that were alleged in the film. But, yeah, you can't deny the performances are not first rate. They are.
What do you think of? Are you watching Severance?
No, I'm not, and I've heard nothing but great things about it. Ben Stiller's a terrific director, so I should catch up with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just season 2 just dropped, and so just come a couple episodes in, I think. But it's a great cast, especially the first season with Walken and Turturro, in addition to Adam Scott and Patricia Arquette. It's worth checking out. All right, yeah. Christian Toto, host of Hollywood in Toto and the podcast at HollywoodInToto.com, HollywoodInToto.com. Christian Toto, thank you as always.
My pleasure.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Perhaps you're a collector, or perhaps all of a sudden you have a collection. Maybe it's an inheritance. How do you know what it's worth? This is Sean Thompson for Donley Auction. The market for antiques and collectibles is changing all the time.